Hello and welcome back to Music Mitra. My name is Bindu Nair, and in today's video I am going to explain to all students of Carnatic music how to write Ragalakshana. Understanding Ragalakshana and writing it effectively plays a key role in understanding music and also when you appear for the music examinations. So let us first understand what is Ragalakshana. Every raga has a grammar behind it. So it has the origins from where it has originated. It has its structure, what are the components of that raga, and it has certain salient features which makes it different from other ragas. So all these factors that make that raga unique has to be explained in point form to make it easier, so you don't miss out on any points even while understanding a raga and also while presenting a raga either in a examination or when you're explaining it to somebody. So I will divide this into two parts. The first part would be a basic Ragalakshana for a junior level student. You need not go in too deep into the minute details in the beginning, but you need to know the structure of the raga and what makes that raga that way. So the first and foremost point that I would say is, let's take a ragam like Mohanam, which is an easy raga because all junior students would have learnt the Ninu Kori Varnam in that raga. So let's take this raga Mohanam. So I would write the heading as Ragam Mohanam. Now I will give 6 main points. So always remember, for a junior level student you should know 6 points. So what are these 6 points? The first point is whether it is a Janya raga or a Janaka raga. Main, very important identification. Now in the case of Mohana, it's a Janya raga. So I would say Mohana is a Janya raga. Now the second point would be Janya of what? So if it's a Janya, then what is the parent for this raga? So it is the Janya of Hari Kamboji, which is the 28th Melakarta raga. So that's very important. We have to mention the name of the parent and also the number of that parent in the 72 Melakarta scheme. So in Hari Kamboji it is number 28. So the second point is it's the Janya of Hari Kamboji, which is the 28th Melakarta raga. Then the third point would be to classify this raga as an Audava, Shadava, Sampurna. In my earlier video I have explained this concept of types of Janya ragas. So if you don't know these concepts, please go to that video and understand these terms: Audava, Shadava, Sampurna, etc. Audava means 5 swaras, having 5 swaras in its Arohana or Avarohana. Shadava means having 6 swaras, and Sampurna meaning having all the 7 swaras. So in this case of Mohana, it's a Audava raga having only 5 swaras or a pentatonic scale. So the third point would be Mohana is an Audava raga having only 5 swaras both in its Arohanam and Avarohanam. So you got your third point. The fourth point would be it's Murchana. Now what is Murchana? Murchana is nothing but the Arohana, Avarohana. Now here when you write Sari Arohana, Sari Gapa Dasa, Avarohana, Sadapa Garisa, we have to also mention the numbering. There is a numbering system which shows which note. We have the Prakriti Swaras and the Vikriti Swaras. Sa and Pa are constants, they don't change. But Ri, Ga, Ma, Dha, Ni, they have variations. So to show which Ri I would use a number, Re 1 for Shuddha Rishabham, Re 2 for Chatushruti Rishabham, and Re 3 for Shatshruti Rishabham. So here it is Re 2. So I will write the Arohana Avarohana as Sa, Re 2, Ga 3. Antara Gandhara is shown as Ga 3. Though in some schools or some textbooks they show as Ga 2. Because they say Ga 1 is Sadharana Gandharam and Ga 2 is Antara Gandharam. But in when you go for each swara, if you want to give a different name or different number, then we need to use the 3 numbering system. So Antara Gandharam will be Ga 3. So Sa, Re 2, Ga 3, Pa, Dhatu, Sa. That is the Arohana. And the reverse is exactly same as the Arohanam. So Sa, Da, Pa, Gari, Sa, Da, 2, Pa, Ga, 3, Re, 2 and Sa. So that was your 4th point. The Arohanam, Avarohanam with the numbering. Now 5th point would be elaborate the swaras. So that even if there is any confusion in the numbering, you are giving the clarity on the exact swaras that are used in this raga. So you would write it as the swaras in this raga are Shadjam, Chatushruti Rishabham, Antara Gandharam, Panchamam, Chatushruti Devatam. That would be the point number 5. Point number 6 would be important compositions in this raga are, so you would write in Varnam, you have the Ninakori Varnam and write the composer. Kritis, you can mention 3-4 Kritis with their Talam and their composers. Then if there's any other forms of like Swarajati or Javali or Padam or Tilana, you can write 1 or 2 of those. So you give the complete picture of the raga. So this is the 6-point introduction to Ragalakshana for a junior. So I hope you understood this, because just remember 6 points and these are the 6. And the first, Janya or Janaka. Second, if it is Janya, who is the parent, so mention the Janaka raga with its number. Number 3, the Arohana, Avarohana, and then whether it's Audava, Shadava, Sampurna, that category. Number 5, elaborate the name of the swaras, and then at the end you end it with important compositions in this raga. So this was a basic introduction to Ragalakshana. Now suppose you have been learning music for some time, or you've already crossed the junior level, you are into a senior level of learning, then we need to go little more deeper to understand this raga. So there will be many more points that you can add to this. So instead of 6 points, here we can add 4 to 5 points more. So what are those points that I would a senior student would should know about the raga? The first one would be always the same, whether it's a Janya or a Janaka. And in the Janya, we need to know the parent. That remains the same. Arohanam, Avarohanam remains the same. But here, we need to also categorize the names of the corresponding raga in other genres of music. Like suppose if you are taking Mohanam, would say the equivalent of Mohanam in Hindustani music is Bhoop. And also you can mention this is a pentatonic scale also found in many other countries' music, other genres, especially when you go to Southeast Asia, the Chinese, the Japanese music, you will find Mohana scale, which is there. Then another very important classification when it comes to a senior level understanding is whether this raga is a major raga or a minor raga, whether this raga has a time, like there are certain ragas which are sung in the morning, certain ragas which are better sung in the afternoon or better sung late at night. So this kind of aspect of that raga we need to mention there, whether it is a morning raga or whichever time that it is. So first we said we are going to add whether this has a whether this equivalent in other genres of music. Then we are going to say whether it is a morning raga or evening raga, whatever the time, the time importance of that raga. The next point that we would say whether it's a major raga or a minor raga. What's the difference between major raga and minor raga? A major raga would be like a Shankarabaran or Kalyani or Karara Priya, where there's a lot of scope for elaboration, and there'll be a lot of composition, a lot of Janya ragas. So it's like it is pervading, a lot of seen in the Carnatic music, what do you say, a system, we would say, because it has a lot of reach, so many compositions, so much of scope for elaborations. Those are major ragas. Like in any concert will have that raga. Okay. Then there are minor ragas, which are, again, they are not that they are less important, they are important, but at the same time they are not as expansive like the major ragas. So they may not have many compositions, and they may not be having the structure to elaborate in alapna or for a longer period of time. You can only do a brief exploration of that raga. So for any raga, when we write the Ragalakshana, we can mention that also, whether it's a minor raga, major raga. Then what is the emotion that this raga evokes? So every raga has an emotion attached to it. Like Mohana is always a happy raga, it's beautiful. Mohana, the name itself, same way it has the happiness feeling attached to it. There are certain ragas, like I would say Shivaranjini or Shubha Panturali, which evokes a sad feeling. So it's what is the emotion that is underlying that raga. So that is another point that can be brought out when you're writing a senior level raga lakshana. Then the next point would be, what are its nyasaswaras, amshaswaras, grahaswaras, etc. Now, what is grahaswara? Grahaswara is a swara on which a composition or a phrase normally starts. So certain ragas sound very beautiful when it is commenced on a particular note. So that is known as the grahaswara. Nyasaswara or amshaswara is a swara on which you sustain. So you end a note or you sustain a note. That is known as Nyasaswara, ending note, pausing note, sustaining note. Same way there is Jivaswara. Jivaswaras are swaras that give life to that raga. Certain ragas, just by that one note, we can identify that raga. Yeah. So, these three aspects, the Grahaswara, Nyasa or Nyasaswara, Amshaswara and Jivaswara. These swaras we can mention for each raga when you are at the senior level. Your teacher will definitely help you to understand what are the nuances of that particular raga. We can read up, there's a lot of information online to understand more about these Anyaswaras, the Nyasaswaras and Amshaswaras and Grahaswaras. Then we have to always mention the swaras that are there. As usual, I told you we have to mention the swaras in this raga are so and so, so and so, so and so. But we should also know whether it is a Bhashanga raga, Vakra raga and so on. Now what is Bhashanga raga? Bhashanga raga is a raga which is a Janya raga, Upanga raga. Upanga means the directly derived from the parent is known as Upanga raga. But when it comes to Bhashanga, it's the opposite of Upanga raga. It is a Janya raga, but it has notes which are not there in its parent. It admits foreign notes. So such ragas are known as Bhashanga ragas. So when we are talking about a raga at a senior level, we need to also mention the Bhashanga, whether it's a Bhashanga raga, whether it's a Vakra raga. Vakra means when the Arohana Avarohana is jumbled format. Also, we should know the Varjyaswara. Suppose it's a Audava Raga. That means there are two notes that are missing, right? So, which are the Varjya? Audava Raga is always known as Varjya Ragas because they are omitting certain notes. So, in a Shadava, one note is Varjya. So, which is the Varjya note? So, we should also mention the notes which are Varjya or absent in this Raga are this and this. So that is another point we need to note when it comes to Ragalakshana. We need to mention whether it is Vakra Raga, whether it's Upanga Raga, whether it's Bhashanga Raga, etc. Then there are other classification of ragas like Rakti Ragas, Ghana Ragas, and so on. So we have fixed 5 ragas known as the Ghana Ragas, in which Tyagaraja has composed the Pancharatnam. So that is Nate, Gaule, Arabi, Varali and Sri. So if it comes under any of these classifications, we need to mention that this comes under the Ghana Raga classification. So that is another point that we, so you see how we added to the original 6 points. We can come to 10, 12, 13 points when it comes. Then at the end we can mention the sancharas or phrases in this raga. So take 3 or 4 classic phrases that identify this raga. We establish this raga in just one phrase. Normally when Manodharma Sangita is rendered, like an alapana is rendered, the first few phrases itself will give the glimpse of that raga. So you know exactly this is the raga that this person is singing. So there are characteristic phrases that identify that raga. So these sancharas are very important when it comes to a senior level understanding of Ragalakshana. So we added so many points. So I'm sure from 6 we would have come down to whether it is, you know, the Audava Shadava component of it, the Bhashanga or Vakra or Upanga component of it, then whether it's a morning raga, evening raga and so on, then whether it's a Rakti raga or Ghana raga, that, and then we mentioned the Varjyaswaras of this raga and the mood of the raga, whether it's a happy raga, whether it's a sad raga or it evokes the Veera Rasa. So those kind of points we brought in. Then we brought the phrases. What are the phrases that identify this raga? So naturally from 6 points we would have come now to 10, 12 points. So actually if you see in Natya Shastra, Bharata had mentioned Dasha Lakshana, that those days the name raga was not used, it was known as jatis. It is much later when it came to Venkatamaki in his Chaturdanda Prakashika. He has mentioned all these points. It goes beyond 10. It goes to, that's when the name raga itself has come. And we see that raga has lakshanas, and these lakshanas can be enumerated in multiple points. And so as a student of music, it's very, very important that it's good when we sing well, but we also need to understand the grammar behind a raga. It is very, very ideal if you break it down into points so that you never miss a point, especially when you have to write an exam. So I hope you found this video informative. Please write your comments below so I know whether it has made sense to you. And it's my humble endeavor to spread the knowledge of Carnatic music to more people, to make it more understandable. Many people shy away because they don't understand the genre of classical music, and the aim of Music Mitra channel is just to debunk all these, the fears of not understanding Carnatic music and demystify it and make it available to everybody, whether you're a student or just a rasika. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do that now and click that bell icon so you know when more videos are out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll come again soon with another topic which can be of help to music students and rasikas. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon in another video. Bye for now.